together. He's a great community leader. His story is amazing.
All right, welcome back to the lounge. And man, I'm excited about today. We have a great one for y'all, especially the baseball heads, because we got a special one. Anthony Manuel, welcome to the lounge.
Appreciate it, fellas. Good to be here, man. Good to be here.
Yes, sir.
I love it, man. And here's the thing, I was super excited because although we've been communicating a little bit, I only know this much about it. I can't wait to hear and piece together all the stuff that you have done. Your entire life is really what it is. And I want to jump backwards first and set the groundwork for it, man. Take us back, man. I know if this from the outside in, but I'm pretty sure this is there. I'm not sure that you're walking around and people just recognize you here everywhere that you go. But at the same time, you and your family are Sacramento royalty. That's really what it is. I'm curious of how everything looked as you were growing up. What did that household look like, man?
Man, so my dad really set the bar high, man. You know, my mom and my dad, you know, without them, I don't think, you know, any of my siblings, you know, Jerry, Angela, Natalie would be having the success that they're having right now. You know, they always operated in a spirit of excellence. And they always raised us to be servant leaders. That was their thing, is to be a servant leader. So we always had the mindset of giving back, but at the same time being great, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, like I always tell people, you know, yeah, baseball has been the most consistent thing in my life, but it's God, family, and then baseball. And you have my dad, who, as I was a child, he was aspiring to be a big league manager. So I got to watch that rise firsthand, and I didn't take a second for granted, and I was on his hip every single second of the way, man, every single second of the way.
Paint that picture. So I want to get that time frame in my head. So, like when he had you, like what was he doing when you were young? I'm curious.
Okay, so I was born in '82. So at this point, he just ended his career in '81.
Okay.
Mike Scioscia actually took his knee out at second base, which he didn't bounce back from that. So his first gig was as a scout for the White Sox. I was born actually here in Sacramento in Rancho Cordova. Mm-hmm. But when I was 5, we moved to South Florida because at the time my dad got a job with the Montreal Expos as like the field coordinator, farm director, played all those roles. We lived there about 10 years. Within that span of time, he became the big league third base coach for 6 years under Felipe Alou, which was an amazing experience. We would spend our summers in Montreal, so I never had like a normal summer childhood of playing All-Stars or anything like that. But I wouldn't change it for the world because I was able to take ground balls with guys like Ozzie Smith and different things like that.
Word.
And, you know, having those kind of experiences and upbringing obviously is, you know, a huge part of my being. And then so in '97, he was the bench coach for the Florida Marlins when they won the World Series. You know, I'm 15 at this time. But we stayed still in Florida because it was close enough to Miami. And then after that, he got his first managerial opportunity with the White Sox in '98. They hired him to be the manager. So we up and moved to Chicago the middle of my sophomore year of high school.
From where were you guys living at it?
Well, so I was in Sacramento until I was 5, and then moved to West Palm Beach, Florida for 10 years. And then we went to Chicago when I was 15, lived there for 6 years. So yeah, my sophomore year of high school, I was taken out of school. We moved in the middle of the school year, so me and my sister were homeschooled the rest of the year so that we could kind of travel and be with the team and whatnot. And then after that, obviously I went on to college, but the New York Mets came next, and so my dad was with the Mets, so he managed a total of, I think, 9-10 seasons in the big leagues, so Chicago White Sox and New York Mets. But at this point, I'm now in my, you know, adult ages where I'm in the off season, just coming back to, you know, wherever they are. And visiting New York. You know, he made home in El Dorado Hills at one point, and now he makes home in Loomis and here for the off season. So that was a timeline on the early days.
Man, that's crazy. And a lot of, a lot of moving around, a lot of not normal with what the time looked like, right? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, so for me, it was tough in the sense that I was already a kind of an introvert anyways as a kid, and so moving around, you're not like as consistent as some people would be. They got these lifelong friends and live in this neighborhood their whole life, and it kind of I started to read people differently because some kids always wanted tickets to a game or somebody's autograph, and so it kind of turned me away from. I think that made me a little bit more introverted, if you will.
Yep.
But what was happening, what the higher power was doing, was just really having me tap into what my whole purpose and goal was for my life, and so I think that was all planned.
Wow. Now, and again, with your siblings, where are you in the birth order? Like, give me that breakdown.
Okay, so my sister, she's the oldest, Angela. She was born in '75. She's a big time trainer for Nike. She's an Olympic athlete. She ran Olympic trials here against Marion Jones.
Did you know? Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna stop. Did you know any of this?
No, hell no. I'm telling you, I was excited about the day. I need to hear it all.
Yeah,
By the way,
one of the fastest.
at the where I said I met you briefly and I got to see you in action, just volunteering, giving to the kids. I got to meet your mom, and I talked to your mom for about 10, 15 minutes. I can tell this kind of what you said, just how you started this with just how your father was raising you guys. There's greatness in your household. I'm sure we're going to be touching on your parents in a little bit, but man, like this is just wild.
Yeah.
I mean, the pedigree in your family. So anyways, carry on.
Yeah, so my sister, Angela, who was born in '75, was probably one of the fastest human beings that any of us have ever seen. And so she ran at college. She ran at Oral Roberts University, obviously on a full ride, and then she was competing in the Olympic trials here that were here at Sac State, believe it or not. And now she's a big time trainer, motivational speaker for Nike. She's a Nike athlete coach, if you will. And then my brother, born in '75, he played a little baseball. He played baseball in college, but he decided he wanted to go more the business route, and then he ended up getting his business marketing degree, his master's at Loyola Marymount, and from there he went to go work in the front office for the Dodgers, and he did that for a year. Kind of was filling it out. Started helping out players with a sports agency, Matt Kemp, whatever it may be, and then he started slowly getting into fashion. And creating new clothes, if you will, and then so the birth of Fear of God happened, and so we have my older brother Jerry, who obviously is the owner of Fear of God and Essentials, as some people may know, and then my younger sister Natalie was born in '85. For a while there, she had her own TV show on the Hillsong Christian Network. Now with Natalie, it's all about your purpose. She interviewed some great people, and she's still in that realm, if you will. So yeah, I was the third born.
Mm-hmm.
My brother or my sister being the oldest, my brother being the first boy, and then my little sister was the baby. So I always kind of felt like I had no title. I was like, man, whatever. But it was all good, man. It was all good.
Man, obviously, your parents have to be extremely proud of you just named off incredible. I know what you do. God, how much pride do they have walking around just knowing outside of how successful they've been in general, just raising kids to be so impactful. I mean, I got to think that they're walking around on cloud nine more than anything else.
Well, we hope so. My parents are very humble people.
Mm-hmm.
You've met them before, Chris, and so they're very humble, and they're not going to speak up on that. And actions always speak louder than words. And so, whatever impacts are left, whatever fruits of the labor are shown will be shown, and we really would like it come from other people to say whatever impact that is it's having, but you'll very rarely hear them speak about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they are proud.
Yeah.
But we are still, as children to them, we're still daily grinding and always trying to, reach that bar that's been set. That they've set a bar so high. And the only way to get there is with that spirit of excellence every single day.
Wow. I love it.
So what teams did your dad play for in the majors?
So he was drafted by the Detroit Tigers out of Cordova High School. He was a first rounder. They called him out of class. He was a 3-sport star. Here at over 200 full rides to play football, basketball, baseball. He was committed to go play football at UCLA, but the MLB draft took place. So he was in class at Cordova, and they called him out of class and told him he got drafted. I think he tried to leave the school and hide out because he thought he was going to the war.
Oh, my God.
So they said, no, Jerry, hold on. You got drafted to the Detroit Tigers in the first round. So, and Grandpa Lorenzo, God bless his soul, he's in heaven, but his dad was a baseball player. And, he would throw in the old Negro League games, the traveling teams that they had. So he was always big on baseball and, it was in our blood. And so that was the point that he said, okay, I'm going to go take care of my family, step into baseball. So he was with the Tigers, the Cubs, Expos, Padres. Those few teams he was with during his playing career.
Did you get in? Maybe I'm not tracking here, but did you get to see your dad play?
So no, because when I was born in '82, he just finished playing.
Okay.
So my whole life, my upbringing, I got to watch him as a coach.
Got it.
But obviously he would tell stories about how good his hands were and all those kinds of things, and how he played and how clutch he was.
What position?
Shortstop.
Shortstop.
Yeah.
Which arguably that's got to be top 3 hardest positions on the field.
I mean, I wouldn't use the word hard. I would say important.
Important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Another thing that I was just thinking about. So you had mentioned a lot of traveling around. Was your mom working or?
No. So she was a stay-at-home mom, and I have no idea how she did it.
I bet.
Because, like, for example, from '90 to '96, we're spending every summer in Montreal, but we live in West Palm Beach, Florida. She would pack the car with all of us. We would drive 3 days to Montreal, Canada. Nobody else could drive, obviously. We're in the back seat, boom, 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 driving 3 days.
And it took 3 days to get
Took
there?
3 days. Took 3 days.
How often would that happen?
6 years.
For 6 years?
Every summer we would spend in Montreal, and we didn't fly.
Oh, man. So, and how did that affect, like, because during all of this, I'm imagining that your dad's coaching, but you're also playing baseball, right? Did that affect what you were doing at all?
It affected me in the sense that I had my dad for a limited time. Like it was 6 months out of the year that he was home. But I was always a very self-motivated person. I was, pushing myself, and all he had to do was tell me what I needed to do. He's like, hey, if you're getting this many ground balls, you take this many swings, get your push-ups in, do your jump rope, whatever it may be. I'm a baseball rat, so I did everything that I needed to do. So there were times then in the off season that he would get to see me play, and those were always obviously great times. I mean, I had a tough experience where, I was in the college summer league at the time, and he had a day off, and we were playing at I think it was Kane County Stadium or something. He was managing the White Sox. And I was killing it at short the whole time of that league. And he finally gets to see me play. This is probably the first time in 8 months or something he's seen me play. And so I'm just so excited to show him what I can do. I couldn't catch one ground ball. I had like 6 errors at shortstop.
That's wild.
I couldn't even catch a ground ball.
Wow.
Yeah, man, I couldn't catch a ground ball. I was telling my son that story just so he didn't, get down on himself or whatnot if you have a bad game. But sometimes maybe there was a little bit extra pressure to try to show him what I've been, doing. Because for as long as I can remember, every time the teacher asked, what do you want to be when you grow up, it was always a professional baseball player. It was always my answer. And and that never wavered.
Well, you think about it, man, that's got to be intimidating to know the pedigree that you come from, and just knowing that your dad wasn't at a bunch of your games. So I could.
For sure.
I could see like going into that game being like, man, this one feels different.
Pressing a little
This
bit.
one-
Well,
Well,
that's where the middle school part comes in, you know. So where we grew up in South Florida in West Palm Beach, we had our middle school had school teams, and I was always undersized. I grew like 2 or 3 inches in college, so I was a late bloomer.
Okay.
And so my 6th grade year, I go to try out for the baseball team. Keep in mind, my dad is the only dad in the school who's a professional baseball coach. So, you know, there's already expectations, but I'm this big, you know. So I get cut my 6th grade year. I don't make the team. Everybody that gets cut ends up quitting, you know. I come back 7th grade. I get cut again. And I come back 8th grade. All the kids are laughing at me. What's he doing out here? You know, he's not gonna make the team. I made the first day of tryouts. Came back the second day, got cut again.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got cut all 3 years in middle school. Now I go into high school, Wellington High School down in Florida, which is a good baseball school. I'm only like 5 foot, maybe 85 pounds or something, 90 pounds, like tiny. And I remember at tryouts, none of the helmets fit me. I had to have on like 2 hats and whatever.
Wow.
I'm crushing every single baseball. None of them leave the infield. I'm picking everything at short because all the infielders go to short, but my balls are bouncing to first base. And so the coach afterwards, because I was, you know, I was making the best contact. I was catching the ball the cleanest, but physically I wasn't there. So coach said, okay, tomorrow morning, you guys come go look on my door. If your name is on the list, you made the next day at tryouts. So I didn't even sleep that night. I remember getting off the bus, and I go straight to the guy's office. I go straight to his office, and I'm looking at the list, and I look up and down it like 4 or 5 times, and I got cut again. I saw it for my freshman year. So 4 years in a row, I do not make the team. And so I remember I immediately called my mom, and I was like, oh, I'm sick. I don't feel good. Just come get me. I wanted to go home. But I needed to just go cry somewhere.
Oh,
so,
man.
So I went home. I curled up in a ball, and I was just weeping, like in fetal position, just weeping like a little bit. Because I've worked my butt off.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I was that kid. We had a motivational speaker in 7th grade. I remember him saying, you got to go the extra mile. And behind our house, I remember my dad to exercise, he would run to the main street and back was exactly a mile. Ever since that guy said that, I ran a mile every single day,
Man.
like thinking I literally got to go the extra mile. So anyways, so I'm in my bed crying, and my mom knocks on the door. She said, hey, your dad's on the phone. He's in Pittsburgh. They're getting ready to play the Pirates. And he goes, I said, hey, you know, he goes, you get cut again? I said, yeah. He said, you still want to play baseball? I said, yeah. He said, well, go sign up for the Little League. So the most humbling thing I had to do as a freshman in high school was like, what do they call it now, juniors or something?
Yeah, juniors.
I wasn't even good enough to play for my high school team.
Wow.
And so I kept playing, I kept grinding, I kept doing everything I had to do every single day. This is 4 years in a row. So my sophomore year comes around. Now I'm like 5'4".
This is wild.
And I'm trying out for the JV team because obviously the freshman is out of the picture. And so I'm first one out there, you know, I'm hustling, first one on the line, picking up balls at, you know, whatever it may be. And I remember the coach calls me and says, Manuel, come over here. So he calls me over. I run over to him. He put his arm around me. And I was already wise enough at a young age, like when someone starts a conversation out with something positive, it's going to end up negative. So, you know, he's like, yo, you know, we really love your passion, your energy, you know, you work hard. And I'm like, dang, this dude's about to cut me. And then he says, I'm sorry, son, but this team is not for you. And I remember a tear goes down my face. He said, go over to the varsity field. You're the starting shortstop.
What?
I've never ran so fast in my life to a position. I mean, there was probably like dust coming up for me. So I surpassed all those kids that are on the JV team that were making fun of me. I'm now above them.
Whoa.
As the shortstop on varsity, man.
Oh
So,
my goodness.
Yeah, and then the rest is history.
You haven't heard this story.
I told you, man. I ain't heard none of this, man. Damn. And how does practice go that day?
Oh man, I mean, obviously I was doing my thing. Like I said, it was written from there. But then I had another challenging experience. We moved because that was my sophomore year. I said, so we moved to Chicago, and we're in like a different bracket, if you will, economically. So we're like living in these suburbs.
Yep.
And, once again, I'm by far the best infielder, hands down. Okay. Hands down, hands down. But all the kids are like big, like your size already. Like they're just grown, hitting bombs, whatever it may be. I spent my junior year played every single inning at shortstop. Did not get one at bat.
Wow.
The pitcher would hit because he was 6'2", 6'3",
Wow.
hitting bombs.
Yeah.
So again, another humbling experience, something that beats you in the chest. But I still was the last kid at practice hitting every day, even though I didn't get one at bat the entire season. Catching balls that are in right field because I'm doing everything I can for everybody to see. I didn't make an error that season.
Wow.
And then my senior year, obviously, I was in the lineup hitting second. I batted like 6-something because I was just angry, just playing angry. And I worked so hard. And
6-something.
And then
600.
Usually there's like a 2 or 3.
no, high school is easy. High school is easy to do that because college I was hitting like 380 and all that. But high school you can hit.
What were you? I'm sorry, as I'm tracking the story, you're like a junior at this point.
No, senior. My senior year. My junior year, I didn't even get to hit.
That's crazy. Okay. That's a crazy jump. Yes, you say it's easy, but from going from not hitting at all to that can't be easy.
I didn't get one at bat, Rene. And I played every inning at shortstop.
That's crazy.
As their most important defender.
Yeah.
As you will.
So it's
understand.
like cut. Didn't hit, and now your senior year, you're killing it. I want to go back to this real quick though. The conversation that when you said you were feeling sick and you were crying, and your mom came and grabbed you, and you got. I mean, that just sounds like you guys have a really, really tight family.
Oh, I mean, our family is extremely tight, and it's all because of the travel and not being close to extended family for long periods of time. I think that made us a lot closer, and so we are extremely tight. I mean, the family group text is always blowing up, whatever it may be, but we all keep each other accountable, and we don't settle for anything less than greatness. There's no other option.
And faith is number one tied to all of that.
100%. It's about our Creator and what He put us on this earth to do, and that's why I can be at peace because I know I'm walking in my purpose when I'm working with Kai or whatever it may be and giving back. There's no rehearsing or anything for that because it's authentic. I have conviction on what it is I'm talking about and giving back, and I think that's the most important thing. And for a lot of people to just stay in your lane, understand what it is that you actually are great at, and give that back to the world.
So dope.
So going back, because I kind of cut you off. So senior year, you're hitting over 600. I'm sure Pops is proud.
So crazy part is the White Sox wanted to draft me. I didn't even fill out the paperwork because I was like, "No, you guys haven't seen nothing yet." I was that kind of like angry and wanted to, not angry, but like I didn't even fill out the paperwork to get drafted my senior year. Because everyone else that did it's because they had these illustrious 4-year runs in high school and balled out.
Was it to prove that you can do it because your dad was a part of it?
Honestly, I think it was just like y'all just got a small sample size of what
Got
I can
it.
do. Like,
Yeah.
But I said, I remember I put it under the TV. I didn't even fill it out.
Wow.
To get drafted.
And a little more context, what were your siblings who were, well, I guess they're with different ages and everything like that. How were they athletically in high school? Because you went through this big stretch of, being cast off. Were they successful when they were around that age?
My sister Angela's got records to this day down at Wellington High School for the 100 meters, for soccer, for the goals, the most goals scored ever. My brother played high school basketball. He was a little bit more physical. He didn't even play high school baseball.
Oh, he didn't.
He walked on in college, and he was good because we were always around it. We were always playing it.
Of course.
Your brother walked on and played college baseball?
Yes.
So he was basketball in
Yes.
high school.
Yeah,
Interesting.
he hooped in high school.
Okay.
And then he decided to shut it down and go the business route.
Yeah.
And my sister, my baby sister, it's funny you bring this up because everybody was just in town a couple weeks ago for a funeral.
Yep.
And so my dad, he has these he likes to, kind of get on everybody. And so he was saying Natalie is the best athlete out of all of us. It made my brother upset. He's like, she didn't play nothing, man. She didn't do nothing. But honestly, when I think about it, because it's like my son and my daughter, when I was 14, I was throwing the ball as hard as I could to her when she was 10. She's the person I played catch with.
Yeah.
She was literally, so she could have done anything she wanted to do. She did go play soccer. I think they put her on varsity as a freshman because she was a thoroughbred, if you will. But she was more into the journalism side of things and kind of doing that. I think at one point she aspired to be the first female general manager when she was younger. But she's obviously thriving in her industry now. So, but my dad tell it she was the best athlete out of everybody. Man. But obviously there's other factors that go into getting to where you want to ultimately get.
I can talk sports all day. But for me, it's just such a beautiful thing. We got the holidays coming up, and there's a lot of people that are probably very apprehensive and holding their breath to be around family. And you can just tell from listening to these stories. And I've been around. I was at church last week, and I looked behind me, and your mom and dad were right behind me. Swagged out.
I was supposed to be there. I had hitting lessons.
But I would imagine when you guys have family functions, it's
got to be the best.
It's got to be it's all love.
It is all love, and the beautiful part about it is now because we all have children of our own. We get to sit them down. Yeah. And that bar that's been set is set for them as well. My nephew Edward, my sister's son, you probably see me post the soccer guy. My nephew Edward, he's playing for the Philadelphia MLS, their feeder team. They're trying to get him to sign his professional contract, but he may go to UCLA. He's not sure, but he could go pro now if he wanted to.
How old
He's
is
a junior in high school.
Come on.
Let's go.
And his parents live in Beverly Hills, and he's been going to high school in New Jersey for all of his high school to play professional soccer.
This is your sister's son?
Yes.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
And then she has another son, Renzi, who's like Bo Jackson type body that's going to do unbelievable things. And then my brother's son is a natural at everything, and so he just got to figure out which one he wants to do. Obviously, Malachi is locked in with baseball, and the girls are the girls. We let the girls do whatever it is that they want to do, but whatever it is they're going to do, it's going to be with excellence, and they're going to reach greatness. So that's the only criteria.
We're talking about legacy now.
I love it, man. I knew it was going to get to it. Now, we're going to dip into all the siblings in their families a little bit more, but I want you to complete your story. It's making a lot of sense, the way that you communicate, and, I'm seeing it's from how you communicate with my son and everything like that, and now it makes a lot of sense. That natural drive that's going on, you had to overcome. You weren't given shit. You had to earn everything on that baseball field to even get at bats and everything like that. So I love that part. So senior year, you don't even put your paperwork in to get drafted. Tell us what happens next.
So like I was talking to you earlier, I said I got to go D1. I got to go D1. And so ended up having the opportunity to come to Sacramento from Chicago. And, you know, we have family out here, so it's my opportunity to come, you know, be with family, if you will. I was still undersized at the time. So Sac State wanted to redshirt me, but once again, I was still the last kid leaving practice. Same thing, the work ethic
So
never
what year was
changed.
this? This must be what, 2000?
2000.
Hey, man, I was on campus, man. Come on, man. Hey, we had just
Desmond Hall.
Desmond
dog.
Hall, let's go. See, basketball, we had to stay. What was the one? It was the international one because basketball stay open all like when everybody's gone. You have to have the international one. Who I was always over in Desmond. That's hella funny. That's hella funny.
Small world,
man. But
so I go to Sac State. I redshirt. I remember my brother calling me like, "Hey man, you got to come back to Chicago. You know, Dad's doing really well. He's starting to get into the scene. You know, he's already hanging out with Kanye West and Common and doing these things and getting himself into the marketing game, which he has a huge gift for on top of a lot of other gifts. And so there was a White Sox scout that also wanted me to come back. And so I went back to Kishwaukee College, which was a baseball powerhouse. My freshman year, we had 13 kids drafted on the team.
come on.
My sophomore year, there was 11. So I was drafted my freshman year. Pops was like, and I'll, you know, stay in school, you know, keep getting the education, fill out a little bit. So then I decided to go to Los Angeles because I was going to go to Southern University. I don't know if you guys heard of Ricky Weeks. They wanted me to play second base after Ricky Weeks. But after my sophomore year, I was set to go on this trip to play baseball in Central America for some team representing USA. And I was already gone, and the school called me and said I didn't complete a biology lab, which I didn't even know about. So I would either have to leave and go do the biology lab so I can go to Division I, or I would have to go to like an NAIA school. And so at this point, my brother's in Los Angeles, and he's like, "Hey man, I got it. You need to come to LA, man. It's we got to still be together, and I got it popping out here." So the coach at Biola needed a shortstop, and so then I went to Biola, and did my thing there, and he was able to see a lot of games. He was able to see quite a few bombs, which we still like to talk about in front of my son.
Man, so you started to fill out a little bit, huh? You started.
Exactly. So I was kind of getting into, I finally got 6 foot, and I was able to kind of do my thing, and then I was drafted by the Mets. Spent a few years in their system. I actually walked away from the game. I was never released from the New York Mets. Wow. That's another part of my story that I think is very compelling because I was just at a different place in my life at 24, 25. Like, who am I? Who am I as a person? Am I just following my dad's footsteps, or is this really what I want to do? So for whatever reason, I was having all those feelings. I go into the report that morning. I go into the office. The guy's like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure?" And he's like, "We'll just put that you retired." I said, "Okay." And the crazy part is, as soon as I left the parking lot, I started crying again. I knew I made a mistake, kind of thing. And so I come back out here. I get into music with a good friend of mine, Greg, who has a skincare line that is booming. L'Oreal just purchased it from him. He's traveling the world doing crazy stuff. But I wasn't whole. I wasn't at peace. That wasn't me. And so then I started reaching out to some independent ball teams and then played a few more years independent ball. Played on some great teams with a bunch of ex-big leaguers that I grew up around and got to face. And, it was the Atlantic League is like AA level baseball, if you will. So I was able to do that. But then my son was born, and I wanted to be here. So then around 2010, 11, both my dad and I were done at the same time, and then we decided to create the Jerry Manuel Foundation, which is what I'm sure you've heard of, which turned into the first ever baseball charter school in the country. And we're just giving back. It's free of charge, and we're giving the kids big league information, but making it simple. the carrot was baseball, so they had to handle their academics.
Yep.
We made sure it was kind of an online program so they can work at their own pace because we know how much work we needed to get done on the field. So there were a lot of guys getting their stuff done, got a lot of work done. And the Jerry Manuel Foundation did its thing. I mean, the first year I was with the Reds, I think they won the whole section out here and beat Rio Americano at Jesuit in front of a whole bunch of people. And that was probably, a real defining moment. And I was really more so I was happy for my dad because it was something where you could say we did that, because it was 10 years. That was 10 years of me being underneath him every single day.
Yeah.
And he's very intense, and so practice will be over and it's, why did we not do this? Hey, you missed that. There's too much standing around there. Boom. It was always could get better at something. We would beat it. We would go to tournaments and beat everybody, win the tournament, and we get in the car. Why'd you select that pitch? Why'd you pick that pitch? Whatever it may be. But all that was just him wanting me to be better. And that's his way, and I understand that about my dad. Some people, maybe could get intimidated or whatnot, but I know his heart, and he's very passionate, especially about his children.
Yep.
And he's intense, so if he feels like you're not doing something right, you're going to know. He's going to let you know. And it's not like he's going to let you do it for a week or something. No, he's going to let you know right there. And so I think I wouldn't be in the situation that I'm at now as a coach in the Cincinnati Reds organization if it wasn't for him and all those experiences, coming up.
Man, I mean, that's an attention to detail. That's the reason why he's so successful. Like, to me, that's what I hear. I mean, it got to be that way for him to be as incredible at his craft as he is, right?
100%. And for him, he would always tell you, Martin Luther King or Gandhi were managing those games, because that's where he went to get his knowledge.
Wow.
He wasn't into the analytics and all this other stuff. He was into the deeper side, and understanding how to reach people and, reach his players and get the most out of them and still be one of the best strategic managers, ever. But what kept him so sharp mentally was reading. And, he'll share with a lot of people. He hated reading, but he knew that he needed to read more. This is as an adult, and he just prayed to God for the desire to read. And then he just started reading a ton of books, and that's when, people now call him the sage.
Man.
And so
that's been his nickname for like many years, the sage.
I mean, I get, you go on Google now, he's the sage. So they call him the sage. So
this is incredible. One of the things that, as you explained that popped in my head when you're under your dad, he's coaching you, and he's just like, it sounds like he's always thinking. But you kind of missed out on that a little bit, right? Meaning, because he was gone, right, early on when you were playing baseball, so it kind of sounds like it all kind of worked out, meaning...
It did. He was gone, but at the same time, when we were, say, in Montreal or we're in Chicago and we live in the same city that he's managing, at that point it wasn't as if he was gone. So I would always go to the park with him.
Yeah.
Got it.
And I would stay out of the way. I would get my work in. I would shag balls. I would sit in the dugout during the game. I'd always be watching him. I'd always be watching him. I'd always be watching how he make moves. Every press conference, managers have to do a press conference. I was always sitting in the back, seeing how he answered those, questions, how he could have dealt with the media, whatever it may be. So, yes, there was a time that was missed out, but more so I really got to experience and be around some things that were, you can't put a price on, man, that really, I think, have helped me a lot, seeing it firsthand.
How did the ways that let's say that you picked up from your dad, or how he was with you when you guys worked together, do you find yourself similar on how you're coaching up your kid? or is there differences? Because I don't have, obviously you bring Kai, you coach Kai, And by the way, I want to just put him on record. I want to see what he thinks of Kai. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. I got big plans because I just want to, kind of Uncle Chris a little bit. I want to see Kai make it. But talk about
you're going to be Uncle Chris to get that signing bonus. Uncle Chris, I was like, oh, you coming over now Tuesday? Yeah, Kai got that $3.8 million in his pocket. Now you want to see what's up with Kai? It's funny you say that, bro, because my dad is on me the way that he's on me, and then I find myself doing the same thing to my son. My son is the one that brings it up. He's like, you guys, he saved it, and it's like we literally. I'll be giving him the same message, like as we're driving to his house, to my dad's house to hit. I'm always preaching to my son, whatever it may be. And then for some reason, and we believe it's a spiritual thing, my dad gets the same revelation, and he starts preaching it without me telling him what we were talking about in the car. Now, this has happened, I've been home for about a month and a half. This has happened 10 times already. And where he has the same exact conversation with my son that I just had with him. And so it's like he gets double confirmation. But to answer your question, our parenting styles the same. Yes, and have I took it and twisted it and made my own version? Yes. And for example, my son stays at my house. There's a spirit of excellence. You get up, you make your bed is made. You brush your teeth, whatever it may be. You knock your push-ups out. Let's get our devotion done. Priorities, things that are in order. So I'm planting these seeds because obviously I'm not able to be here all 12 months of the year with what I do. So when I'm not here, he'll have the blueprint and the formula and know what to follow so he can stay on track.
How is it received? I want to know how it's received by him. So that blueprint of excellence, the making your bed. Does he receive? You have 2 kids, right? Mm-hmm. How is that received? Are they like?
Do I get any kickback?
Yeah.
Not at all. Mm-hmm. Not at all. Because they see what their dad is doing. They see how their dad moves, and obviously my son aspires to do the same thing and be in the same sort of position. But you can't be in this type of position without a lot of sacrifices, and whether that's not sleeping in or
putting in the extra work,
being lazy. Yeah, exactly. Putting extra work, folding your laundry as soon as it comes out of the dryer, whatever it may be, your dishes. We don't leave any dishes out, whatever. Just little things that I know are just going to give him a discipline that, because what's coming at him, we obviously know because we've all been through life, and this is just going to help him, as those things come. Deal with them properly and have his priorities in order. That's the whole goal. That's my goal for him, is to make sure his priorities are in order.
When you're given that, when you're saying you're driving, you're giving him lessons and stuff, is he a sponge, or does he engage in questions with you too? The reason why I asked is because I feel that this is my norm now. Mm-hmm. I have inherited a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old,
okay,
and 2 girls.
Okay.
But I feel like a lot of times when you have those moments, mm-hmm. right? Well, in this scenario, we'll call it the car moment, because as you explain that story, I'm visually seeing that, mm-hmm. right? And mm-hmm. I know that you live that with your kids.
All day.
But one of the things that I feel is it feels like it falls on deaf ears. You know what I mean? But I also have to take into consideration that they're kids. That they're kids, and maybe just because they're not talking, they're listening, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so how do you think that shows up with your kids?
I just watch for the actions, mm-hmm. And that's why for me, my dad and my mom have led by example. They've led by example. So I if I'm not making my bed or I'm not doing whatever, I can't be telling you to do that.
That's mm-hmm. right.
You know what I mean? So I'm living in the spirit of excellence, and so. I haven't even had to tell my son since I've been home to make his bed, or whatever it may be. But so, and then being organized with all of his gear, having his jump rope, doing it every day, and whatever. So, what I've seen is a more mature human being. And I seen him, come. I'm picking him up. Oh, hold on, I left my charger. Okay, cool. I'll joke with him. Oh, you're getting close. Oh, you're almost there. You're almost there. You're almost dialed in. You're not there yet. You're almost there. It hit me up about something. Hey, Dad, can you grab my long sleeves? And I knew they weren't with me. And I said, have you checked everywhere at your Walmart? And then they hit me back. Oh, yeah, they're here. And then once again, I tell them, like, you're getting close. You're getting close. You're not there yet. You're getting close. You're getting close.
Hey,
that's how we do it, man.
You know why I love this?
Great.
You know I love this. So Kai's a hard worker. Like, he was bothering me to lift in the morning. So, he beats me downstairs to get up and lift at 5:30 in the morning a couple times per week when I have him and everything like that. So the effort's not there, but the attention to detail isn't there. I have to bother him. His bed isn't done. And that clean clothes comes back upstairs and stay there, and I'm talking crap to him the whole time. So Kai, listen to this shit. We go get in front of you. That's I know that's coming, and that's when I know he's taking the next step about attention to detail, because he's doing some of the big stuff exceptionally well, but the small attention to detail isn't there. So I love hearing that part of it. But the second part of falling on deaf ears, I know they listen. They're hella smart and they're paying attention to everything that I say. But I'll say this for Kai's side, we've been lucky to be around some really good coaches that stay on them all the time and everything like that. I give shots to Coach Alec, Coach O, Coach Dyron, and he's around you a lot. You guys say a lot of the things that I say, but when you say it, it's different and it's really falling on it. I know as a dad, I'm constantly on all my kids about a lot of stuff, and I know my dad was always right too, but it's dad, you know what I'm saying? So I want him to be around people that are saying, not that you're saying the same thing, you're saying the right thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you got to hear from somebody else, and that's where I want to keep him around there. So when I do speak up here and there, I get to speak less, and it has a little bit more impact because they're around you, you're around Coach Al, like they're in people that'll call them out like this, be hard on them, but it's all out of love, So that's where I'm at with it. And that's why I just appreciate every time he gets to hear you giving him everything technical, but he gets to hear you, the mindset. Love it. And I can't thank you enough for what it is to this point. And it's just the tip of the iceberg,
We're
man.
just getting started. But yeah, Chris, also to piggyback on that, I think something to give you a scale would be to ask them, hey, where do you want to ultimately be? And if they have any sort of idea. And so that's why it's somewhat easy we'll use Malachi, my son, for example. Okay, this is what you want to do? Okay, this is what it takes to get there. This is what you're going to have to do every single day. And so it's as simple as that. Are we doing it or are we not? Okay, you're not. You don't want it. You're not ready. I remember my dad coming in my room when I was a kid, and I'd be sleeping in. First thing he would you don't want it, and close the door. His kid's already in Dominican, taking 10,000 ground balls. You laying in bed, and that would get me up. I'd be out there throwing that ball off the wall, hitting it. We had a ball on a string in our batting cage, hitting it, doing whatever I had to do. But all he had to say was, "You don't want it." I remember him saying that. He would always come in. Every time I'd be, "Oh, you don't want it." You never say, "Get up." Just say, "You don't want it." That's it. So and then therefore you get them in a position to where they can take ownership for their process. And as parents, we want so bad for them to succeed, but we know there's a time where we have to lay off and entrust other people. But at the same time, we're going to plant seeds to where, I'm at peace with what I planted, and I just trust God that He's gonna follow suit.
Yeah, you said something that I'm like, man, I want to put that on the wall. Is spirit of excellence. You didn't say spirit of excellence at sports. You know what I mean?
It's
you
at
said spirit of
everything.
excellence.
No.
So my point,
So
my point in sharing that, obviously, you mentioned your brother. He's gone off to do some incredible life-changing things and still is. That's not sports related, but I'm just bringing that up of like. It's truly instilling things into the children that are going to apply to whatever they decide to do in life. Doesn't have to be sports. You know what I mean?
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But they got to do it with the spirit of excellence, every little detail. and be in tune to the fine details. You know, I would say that's one thing about my brother. He's so detail oriented. It's unbelievable. Like, you know, seeing him pick through these little fabrics, I can't tell the difference between the one. I'm like, yeah, that was cool. Like, I'm like, no, we're gonna go with the, you know. But he's so locked in on the, you know, attention to detail, and he will never release anything without having full conviction, you know. And, you know, so it's the same thing when it comes to coaching. I have to gain revelation on something before I can give it to Kai and give it to Rene. I got to have a true, absolute revelation and conviction in my heart of what I'm saying and what I know that it can do for him if he goes ahead and wants to use this piece of the blueprint. And he is taking advantage of everything that I'm giving him. And each session we grow, and it's unbelievable. Like I was telling you last time, to see where he is from last year. Kudos to you on your discipline, which is obviously rubbing off. Whether you feel like maybe it's not 100% yet, but you still push to get it 100%. Get him to where he's doing all those things. On top of it, he's extremely neat and organized, and, you know, time management and early, and, you know, whatever it may be. And then things slow down for them, and then it becomes they have a chance to kind of think about, okay, how am I going to attack this? How am I going to attack this practice? What's the plan? What are we doing here? But you got to get up first. You got to get your butt up out of bed.
I'm gonna be walking around the office, man. I'm gonna walk by you, like, you don't want it. That's coming, boy.
Hey, that's all you gotta say, dog. Hey, that's all you gotta say. You don't want it. You tell somebody that, they'd be like, I'm gonna show you. You tell Michael Jordan, and somebody go, shoot, you gonna bring out the beast in him.
That's right.
That's what happens.
That's great. That's great. All right, man. Now you're coaching, you're in the minor league. I know you didn't see some stuff. You got some crazy. You've been around some amazing players, man. How's that been going? Give me a little bit of that.
Oh man, it's been amazing it's going into my third year with the Cincinnati Reds. In 21, I was the hitting coach in the draft league for Williamsport, and then the Reds picked me up. But just to be, you know, because before that, obviously, I was 7 years with Major League Baseball with the MLB Develops program, working with top-tier talent. But then now, top-tier talent at the professional level. It's amazing to see some of these kids and what they're able to do, because you can tell how much, especially the ones that are, you know, from the Caribbean, how much baseball they've played, how much knowledge they have of the game compared to some of the kids from here, because here it's a showcase era.
Yep.
I mean, it's a showcase era there too, but at the same time they play more baseball. Here it's become such a showcase era to where there are guys that aren't in tune with the game. You know, baseball is chess, not checkers.
Yeah.
So they're more concerned about their exit velocity, how hard they throw, you know, how fast they run, whatever it may be. But there's so many more other intangibles to where you can be a bad showcase player but be the best player on the team. David Eckstein, for example, I don't know if you remember him, little guy,
sure.
World Series MVP. All of us have more tools than he has.
Yeah.
But what's in here? What's right here?
Yeah.
You know, that's the separator. And to see that at the other level, and to see when guys make a transition and tap into, maybe get a little bit more mature, maybe stop hanging around certain people, making little adjustments, and then all of a sudden he's in Double-A. This guy was just in rookie ball. Now he's in Double-A, but he made a change. And so everybody is trying to grow, you know. And the other thing is you're in the minor leagues, you're not in the big leagues yet. So you can't ever show up like, I've arrived, I'm here, I did it. No, you might have got a check or whatever, but you still got to hit your way out of this league, this league, this league, this league, before you get up top, you know. And being in the Reds organization has been a blessing, because we have one of the top 5 minor league systems in all of baseball with the prospects that we have. And obviously, you know, Ellie De La Cruz.
Come on,
is
man.
now,
The
is now
phenom
on the
Ellie?
scene.
You've been with him, huh?
Yes. That he is literally the best baseball player I've ever worked with. Hit a ground ball to watch run the bases. He's a unicorn, and he's special. But the most beautiful part about him is he's humble. He's real. He's you know, he's not going to big time you or whatever it may be. He literally comes from nothing, but he deserves everything that's coming his way right now.
I always love the stories where people have to work for everything. From what I understand, he wasn't a prospect like that. He didn't get that check, right?
No, he got on the smaller end of the signing bonuses. He was not very invested highly in, but obviously, you know, the Reds took a chance on him because they saw the tools. Very lanky kid, you know. If you think Kevin Durant's skinny, I mean, this guy he's skinny, and but you could see the tools there, and the maturation now that's taking place of him, you know, playing every day for 6 months, and we're seeing what happens when that takes place, and it's a beautiful thing.
An absolute phenom.
How old is he?
Oh man, Ellie might be 21.
Oh, so he's young.
Oh yeah.
And has he signed a major deal yet?
I mean, he got
No, so he's still, so when you get called up to the big leagues, you basically are on a rookie contract until you get a contract. You know, so you're a big league minimum. And I don't want to say the number, but you know, last I checked, I think big league minimum was at like $550,000 maybe a year, but I'm sure it's gone up. Don't quote me on that number because I don't know for sure, but and then you'll sign a deal. I'm sure you watched The Last Dance, right? I watch that all the time.
Yeah, you're gonna talk about the Pippen stuff.
Yeah, man. Because exactly. So what they can do is they can throw some money in his face now because they know he's gonna be a franchise guy, and you know hopefully it's you know what he's worth. But if not, he has the ability to say, I'll play it out. Let me keep doing my thing, and so. You know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Ellie, but there's nothing but greatness to come. But we are getting ready to witness the biggest contract ever with Shohei, that's for sure.
Do we know where he's going?
I know where he's going. He's going to the bank.
How special?
That's great. I was like, where?
Shohei's going to the bank.
I can tell you one team that he's not going to, and that's my San Francisco Giants because we don't like to spend a lot of money. But we do have 3 rings.
He does deserve the highest paid contract ever, in my opinion.
Yeah.
How special is it for you? I'm sure it's a stupid question, but just with your job, getting to work with guys and then see them go up and see them succeed. How special is that for you?
Oh man, there's nothing like it, and that's where it comes back to the purpose thing and understanding everything that I do. It's not about me. It can't be about me. Otherwise, I'm not operating in what God has given me and what my purpose is, to serve and to give back. And so, you know, obviously, I'm not one that's gonna, you know, boast or say anything of, you know, with this guy, but watching it take place and seeing these guys, even from the MLB develops programs. Cam Collier get paid millions of dollars and now, you know, buying his family a home and whatever, you know, Tamar Johnson, these guys that now millionaires, you know, coming that were just high school studs. And then also with the Reds, watching guys get to the big leagues and then perform in the big leagues, you know, there's nothing like it because you know that they're fulfilling their dreams. And I know what it looks like up there because, you know, it's just, you don't even touch your own bags. I mean, it's crazy when you're a big leaguer compared to being a minor leaguer. It's a whole different world, and so it's just truly rewarding, man. But it's one of those internal things where you say, you know, let's keep going, let's keep pushing more kids. You know, it doesn't stop because once again, it's not about me.
I love it. Now you get to see that minor league grind, but you got to spend some time in Dominican Republic with the Reds in their organization down there. Was it the DR that you were in?
Yeah, I went to the DR
Tell
last year.
me about that, man. What's the craziest stuff down there, man?
Man, so I went to the DR last year. They sent me down there before spring training for a kind of like a mini camp. So what they have in the Dominican is the DSL. So all the international kids that are able to sign at 16, they send them there. They have to play there for a year before they can come to the States and play rookie ball or whatever it may be. So they wanted me to check out, obviously work with, with the infielders that are going to be coming to Arizona for last season. And once again, a whole bunch of just gifted players, and if you will. But the city, the city, the country, talk about baseball. Talk about it being baseball. You're walking on these city streets or these streets, and there's like bars and whatever, but all the TVs are facing the street, and they're all baseball games.
Oh.
It's just baseball. It's just baseball. You see kids in the streets. We had to drive to. At the time, we were in this place called Boca Chica Baseball City, where the Toronto Blue Jays are in the same gated little community. The Toronto Blue Jays, the Diamondbacks, the Orioles, White Sox, and the Reds. We've moved now last season, but we were all in the same area. Everybody has 2 fields and a half field. And then you have like the big kind of like building where there's dorms for the kids and whatever it may be. But driving up through the Boca Chica, it's kind of like this dirt road. And you see all these little kids out there, man, baseball is they're just throwing I don't even know what kind of ball they're using. Man. They got a stick. They don't got no shoes. I'm like, wait, that was the best swing I'm about to see today. I'm driving to the ball. I'm like, hold on. We need this little kid over here. And, they literally have the mentality of they got to swing their way off the island.
Yeah.
It becomes life-changing for them for them to get over here. And it's, so a lot of them, some of them have a tough time leaving their families, and they put a lot of pressure on themselves at times to, they got to, be the family savior, if you will. So there's a lot of, hey, man, no, you can only do what you can do.
Yep.
And you got to play your part, play your role, play your position. Look at it in a different lens. Don't put so much on yourself, because when that happens, you put too much pressure on every at bat. You put too much pressure on every ground ball, especially with baseball being a game of failure, where you're expected to fail 7 out of 10 times and be great. So for you to mope or pout because you struck out, it's like, hey, bro, you signed up for this. You're gonna get out. Like you're gonna get out. But, what's the adjustment? What are we gonna do differently? So always finding a way to have guys think about those things differently. It's like, okay, I got out. Good. What good? What now? There's a chance to get better.
Yeah.
We got a chance to get better. I'm glad you struck out. So a lot of times it's changing that perspective. And
you said there's 16-year-olds out there, right? You said,
yes.
Kai's 15 years old, so that's what
internationally, if you're 16, you're eligible to sign.
Whew.
Yes, internationally.
And some of them that you were in front of have signed a big old check and is out there, and then some just walked on. Is that correct? So I got that right?
You don't really walk on. All of them get a free. No, you get a free agent. You get
something
signing.
Okay,
yeah, you get signing. There are guys they're 16-year-olds that have gotten $5 million. I think the Padres just signed a catcher this year that got something like that. You can look it up. I hate to quote wrong numbers, but. Yeah, guys get $1 million deals. There's guys that got $250,000 to sign. There's guys that got $600,000 to sign. There's guys that got $80,000 to sign. And that check is just your straight up bonus. Then after that, you go into the minor league every 2-week pay, whatever that is, which isn't very much compared to So when somebody gets a lot of money, it's like, okay, I can set this aside, and I'm not really worried about the check that's coming 2 weeks. And maybe someone that didn't get much money, they, might need that. So there's there's so many different circumstances in baseball.
But it sounds like it's very different how it's working in the DR versus here in America. Is that right? In America, it's
nobody at 16 is getting that in America.
Well, yeah,
right?
You can't get it at 16, but 18 you can. If you're legit, you can get drafted out of high school. And like we were talking about, if you go to college, junior college, you're eligible for the draft. If you go to a 4-year school, you have to wait till your 3rd year or when you're 21, and then you can get paid.
So maybe the question I have is when some of the guys that are in DR, they're not looking to go to college, right?
That's out. Once you got paid, to play a sport,
they're professionals.
But I would imagine too, a majority of them aren't even thinking college.
No chance.
No chance.
No, they're just thinking, how can I just keep on getting better and better?
They would go to college and be the best player on the team at 16.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. And are they super raw, or are they they dialed in?
There's guys that they're polished. I mean, but obviously they're still young, so the maturation emotionally is the biggest thing, you know. And you find out if somebody knows the game or not, or if they've just been training to be a showcase guy. Because your only chances when this scout comes to watch me take ground balls and watch me hit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so that you're just doing that to prepare for a showcase. And you know, they had a great showcase, and there's guys that had great showcases and got paid a lot of money, but when it was time, it was like, where's this dude at? You know what I mean? So, wow. You know, so it's not different in the sense of the showcase. We're still in a showcase era. Well, I would say overseas. I mean, and here in the States, and so it's unfortunately a showcase era. I don't like that because it's taken away from authentic baseball and kids having instincts and their IQ. And I think IQ should be one of the 5 tools. You know, it's not one of the 5 tools, but it's probably the most effective and most important tool is, you know, their instincts and, you know, their baseball acumen.
Man, so you've been around a lot of crazy scenarios, and you got to see a lot of big leaguers up close. Give me something like outside of your dad's stuff that you like saw that really kind of imprinted you with baseball experiences. Who'd you see? What influenced you, man?
Man, so I've had a chance to meet Hank Aaron at the 95 or 9, maybe it was 97 All-Star game. Or no, I don't know what year it was. Maybe it was 99. It was in Boston when Ted Williams was there.
Oh wow, remember?
You know, I got a chance to take ground balls with Ozzie Smith as a kid in Montreal. This story is crazy because if you go to a big league game, you'd see that the home team hits first, then they're off the field, then then the visiting team comes onto the field. When the visiting team comes onto the field, the home team is in the clubhouse. They're showering, doing whatever they want to do pregame. There's nobody with the home team jersey allowed on the field. So I was shagging. I was maybe 11 years old or something. I was shagging fly balls for the Expos BP, but the Cardinals were in town. So I'm gonna watch Ozzie Smith take ground balls.
Yes, sir.
So everybody goes inside. I stay in the dugout. I'm watching Ozzie Smith take ground balls, but then all of a sudden I just run out there. Like I don't even know what came over me. But like I ran out to shortstop with Ozzie Smith, and so Ozzie was cool. He was like, "You want to take some ground balls?" I was like, "Yeah, man, yeah." So I'm just trying to do what he does, and he's catching it, you know, just throwing a one hopper back. So I'm trying to make the same moves. I'm like nervous. I don't know what to say to him. I remember I said, so you like night games? And at the time, we were in Montreal where it's a dome and there's no.
This is so good. You like night games?
I was like, so you like night games? And then he took a ground ball. And he's like, yeah. And I don't know why I asked, but I was like, why? But without a thought, he looked at me and he said, because the stars come out at night.
Ooh.
And I just got chills, man. I was like, no way, Ozzie Smith just told me the stars come out at night.
Oh.
So anyways, but no, back to your story. The one that had the biggest imprint on me was this Barry Bonds event where we were, at the time, I was in college, like 2004. Barry's in his prime. My brother's working for the Dodgers. We're down in the Giants clubhouse visiting with, you know, old coaches and players that we grew up with. And I'm still a baseball fan, even though I'm a college baseball player or whatever. I'm still a baseball fan, and I always knew how to stay out of the way, like in those situations, because that's how you can still stay around. Is you can't be that kid that's running through. Like, man, get this kid out of here. Yeah. So I always knew how to stay out of the way. Yeah. So I go to the corner of the club of the locker room. And I noticed there's 2 lockers. There's a dude sitting here, and then there's another one. So I just boom, sit there. Marquise Grissom comes and gives me a Sam bat. He gave me a new bat. I remember I was like, had it.
Man.
And so I'm like, what's going on over there? And then so I look, and there's like this dude has a different chair. He has like this different like big recliner. Like everyone else got this fold up metal whatever chair.
You're in the clubhouse?
This is the club. This is the visiting clubhouse at Dodger Stadium. And so this guy has this big old chair, and he kind of twirls in it, and it's Barry Bonds right here. And he just looks at me, and he gives me one of these. I just go right back.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm trying to see what is he looking at. In the locker next to him was a little TV that was him just hitting home runs. And he's just twirling his bat, staring at it, right? And this is before batting practice, right? So now everybody in the Giants are going out for BP. So I got to leave the clubhouse.
Yeah.
So my brother's like, hey, I'm like, all right. So I go out. I'm the only one that stays in the dugout. But I remember when I was going out, I'm like, yes, I can see Barry. Barry gets hit. I get to see Barry hit. I turn around. That chair didn't move. He's still sitting there in the chair. I'm like, dang, he's not going to hit. Because, it's like he was a big deal to see Barry Bonds hit, right? So, and it's L.A., they hate him in L.A. So I'm in the dugout. I grab a bag of David sunflower seeds out of the bucket. I'm watching the Giants hit BP. And I remember I was on the top part of the dugout, and I was like, dang, I wish Barry was hitting, man. Like, gosh, I want to see him hit. And so I'm just watching BP. All of a sudden, someone comes up the stairs. I turn and look. Had on like a cutoff T-shirt, like belt, like stomach short, baseball pants. It was Barry. He gave me one of these again. I just gave it to him back. He walks up the stairs. As soon as he gets on the field, everyone, whoa, they're like throwing stuff, whatever. He keeps his head down. He wasn't aware of what group was hitting. On BP, there are groups, and you get like 5 swing. None of that mattered. He didn't break stride. Walked straight into whoever was in there just got out.
Wow.
He hit 5 home runs the other way, comes back out of the cage, boo, boo, boo. He does a couple stretches. He might have let one dude swing again. Goes back in there. 5 home runs to dead center. He goes back out. I remember he grabbed his toes and like a media was trying to talk to him. He was telling the media to get away from him, leave him alone. And I'm just locked in on Barry. Then he goes back in again. Didn't wait his turn. There was no waiting his turn. And he put on an absolute show, clearing Dodger Stadium has those white things.
Yeah. Like
10 of them just walk back off. They're still booing him. He goes back down the stairs, looked at me again. I said, I just witnessed. In that game, he was I think 3 for 4 with 2 home runs, ground rule double, line out in a walk or something. Oh. But it was Barry in his prime. And to see how laser focused he was, on himself and just the way he carried and the ability he had. Steroids or not. I don't care. Steroids or not, because for me it was an even playing field. If the pitchers are taking it, you're whatever.
Yep.
Maybe it may give you a little bit more confidence, but you still have to be able to hit.
Hand-eye coordination.
You still have to take bat to the ball. It doesn't matter.
As you're telling the story, though, it's bringing back how special it was to live during that time. Because Barry, we were talking about Steph Curry, when you got into here. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking the same thing with Steph Curry. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter to ever live.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
But Barry Bonds, I remember as you're saying that I'm probably in my young 20s, because you and I are the same age. Mm-hmm. And just what it was like going to AT&T Park, knowing that you were going to see one of those home runs to get closer and closer to that record. But to hear a story like this, in my mind, he was it. He was larger than life. I can. As you're telling that story, he's not standing in a line. It takes a special person just to know, all right, I guess I'm done. Oh, right.
Now you'd be special.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
And by the way, also too, you've always heard this. I don't know. I think we just live in a generation where everyone wants to be a hater.
Yeah.
but you hear like so much story. I'm sure maybe some of it was true about Barry, of him just being an asshole. I think he just was locked in.
Yeah. No, those, there are stories like that. I mean, there are times, but he also had to protect himself. Yeah, you have to understand, and I think that's something my dad learned was when he was managing and dealing with the media, and guys would be, be throwing shade on him in an article, but then in your face, hey Jerry. So it's like you get to a point where you're like, man, I don't know if you might be one of them,
Totally.
So that's kind of, for me, I understand how Barry kind of would shut himself off from other people, if you will, because you could be somebody that's booing him, but now you want his autograph. You know what I mean? So there was always a real side, to that, and that's something that my dad opened my eyes up to me on, with him dealing with reporters and obviously New York media and Chicago, two of the biggest markets. So, he got to deal with it, as intense as it gets, and then have to face those people every single day. And so it's up to you how you're going to deal with those people. And take a special person to still be able to smile and act like everything's all good.
Man, what's your best experience while you were playing?
Oh man, geez. Best experience while I was playing was probably having a big league spring training game.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm with the Mets, and I come in to the park, and for whatever reason that day I wore the regular polo shirts, polo with the little horse on it. For whatever reason I wore a white polo shirt, and I get in my locker. I'm getting ready for the day, and some guy comes and taps me on my back, and he said, "Hey, you come over to the big league side. You're playing with the big league team today. We're traveling to play the Nationals." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, yeah, come on. And so I start to grab all the stuff out of my locker. He said, hey, you're a big leaguer today. You don't touch your stuff. I was like, what? And then he was like, oh, good thing you have on a collared shirt, because you have to have a collared shirt on, right? We're going to be on the bus. And I'm like, oh, I had no idea I had a collared shirt on. So we go to play the Nationals, and before the game, I'm like number 87 with no name on my jersey. None of the big timers want to sign autographs before. I'm signing every autograph. I'm like, anybody else? Hey, anybody else want one? I'm here. So I'm signing all the autographs in the world, man. And BP went good. It was crazy because my dad was managing the game. And then so he gave me an at bat later in the game, and I told myself I'm gonna just swing out of my shoes, man, hit this ball as far as I can. Right, I had this fastball timed up. He throws me a first pitch change up. I swing so hard, man, hit it off the end of the bat. Little dribbler, I'm running down first, like, man, this is on TV, man. God, dog. But no, just having the experience of actually playing in the big league game, and then getting on the bus, and they give you this envelope full of cash that's for your meal money, and for the one day, which is more than we got paid in 2 months. And they've just fed us all day. So being able to be a big leaguer for a day was probably one of the coolest things as a player.
That's dope. That's dope. All right, best experience as a coach.
Oh man, gosh, that's rough.
Crazy game you're part of, so I don't know.
Honestly, will be, there's been a lot of success. There's been a lot of great times so far with the Cincinnati Reds, but there was a time with the Jerry Manuel Foundation where we went. We kept qualifying and made it all the way to New York City to the NYBC on CBS. Wow! And so all these, and then right now there's 3 kids on that team in pro ball. One of them made it to the big leagues last year. Kyron Paris, Angel shortstop. Let's go. They were all in 8th grade at the time.
Let's go.
And we won a national championship on TV. And that was some of the most intense coaching I had to do, because I had to call every single pitch of the tournament and the whole deal. So that was it probably as a coach so far.
Still to be written.
Yes, sir.
And then watching your dad in the World Series, what was that like?
My gosh.
Give me that. Give me that.
Oh my gosh, that was an unreal experience. Because we were traveling to Cleveland and back to Miami, and Cleveland was freezing, and for whatever reason, the family section for the visiting team was in like over behind the right field fence, which is always like behind home plate on one of the sides or behind the dugout. So it was like snowing, it was freezing, whatever. But that series was tight, and it got to Game 7, and so I'm not bat boying or anything. We're in the stands, so we're back in Miami, and Edgar Rennery is up, and he gets the hit, the walk-off hit. As soon as he hits the ball, no lie, Chris Rene, no lie. As soon as he hits the ball, I knew it was getting through, and they won the game. So my brother, like, he's jumping around with the family. I bounced. I just started running down the tunnel all the way down the thing, sprinting because obviously I can get through all the security.
Because you were in the stands at the time.
I was at the stands. I'm like, I got to get on that field. As soon as he hit the ball, I didn't see any, and I ran and I sprinted again. At the time, it was called Joe Robbie Stadium, and if you saw it, the walkways were like this. So I like ran like a sprint, this 5-lap thing down, like down, and I went through the clubhouse, went through the security guards, like what. And I went straight to the field, found my dad, got one of the team shirts to have. We took the victory lap around the field. Oh, man, I thought I was on the team. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I mean, this is...
I was 15.
Oh my God! Let's just stop real quick. Let's let this marinate for a couple reasons. Number one, like, because we're all around the same age.
Yeah.
I can't believe the life that you got to live as a 15-year-old. That's number one. Number two, Levon Hernandez was pitching for that team, right?
Yeah. He gave me my Mizuno glove I used for 10 years.
I mean, that was a crazy story in itself because did you watch the documentary with Levon and El Duque?
Yeah.
I wasn't even like fully aware of what they had to go through. That was incredible, but that was Levon's first year pitching. That's incredible. It was the Florida Marlins. Who was playing first base? Derek Lee?
No, he was on the other. He was on the other World Series team.
Yeah.
He was on the later one with Josh Beckett and Dontrell Willis and those guys and Pudge.
Yes, sir.
This was the team with Gary Sheffield, with Darren Dalton, Jeff Codenine, Bobby Bonilla.
Was this around 98?
97 World Series. Charles Johnson was the catcher. Jim Eisenreich, Craig Counsell, Edgar Renneria, Luis Castillo. Alex Rene, Rob Nen coming out of the pen.
Two guys
that
stick on that is Edgar Renteria and Rob Nen, obviously, because I'm a Giants fan, right? And then we ended up just like the Giants just got lucky. I'm not trying to like steal the show on the Giants, but I'm just saying like in watching the World Series this year, the Diamondbacks really reminded me of those Giants teams from 2010, 2012, because it was just
playing baseball type of thing.
It wasn't big name contracts. It wasn't like a high money payroll team. We just had a bunch of players that were smart, loved the game, had fun, selfless, all those things. And I saw that with the Diamondbacks. But what year did your dad end up winning Manager of the Year?
2000.
And was that with was he
White Sox?
White Sox, all right.
Yeah, they won the AL Central, and they got beat unfortunately by the Mariners in the playoffs. But he was Manager of the Year 2000, and that's my life goal, is to become the first ever father-son Manager of the Year.
Let's go! Yeah. I love that. You heard it here, baby.
World Series winner, Manager of the Year. You're deep with coaching the Reds. By the way, I wanted to backtrack too. When you were in the DR, are you doing scouting as well?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, I'm in the player development department, so I'm a coach. Yeah.
Nice.
So when you're a coach, you're all in as a coach. So scouting wouldn't be my thing. There's too much driving around for me. I don't like being in the car that much. I don't like doing expense reports either.
I want to get your answer on this.
Okay.
Right? But take me from when you were a kid, so we'll say 6 or 7 years old, up until about 18. So just while you were a kid, your three favorite baseball players of all time for you.
My three favorite baseball players, obviously Ozzie Smith. Because I was a shortstop. The Lionel DeShields, because he used to cut my hair, and you know, his name is Bob. If you know, his name is Bob. And he was also an infielder. So there's a lot of things that I would try to do, you know, emulate him, if you will, on top of being able to go to his apartment and get my hair cut and then ride with him in his Range Rover to the ballpark, you know. So me and Delino have a special connection to this day. And the greatest that I was able to ever witness was Barry Bonds. And my dad will tell you the same thing. That it was the greatest player that he's ever coached against or seen. And the crazy part is every time he was in left field, he was waiting for an opportunity to get a hard hit base hit, throw somebody out at first. Man, that's what he was trying to do. Man, and as much as he was known for this, he was trying to throw somebody out at first. He was just waiting for that opportunity. So yeah, I mean, they're pretty. Those are big, basic names, but I guess those would be the guys if I had to put.
You know, that was personal. That was personal to you because I mean, I don't think we're gonna hear DeShields on somebody's top three, but that was personal. Mine, I gotta say Ken Griffey Jr., man.
Yeah, you know that's what I'm saying.
You know what's crazy?
That's so hard.
I consider myself an old man. We're not old, man.
Yeah.
I can look at you, look at Rene. I'm like, man, we're aging just fine. Man. But I feel like we're not 12 anymore. But I'm watching a commercial the other night
when he's blowing bubble gum.
And I look at my girl, and it just brought me back to what Ken Griffey Jr. The swag he had, the backwards 100%. Hat, the shoes, but mine would be Barry Bonds. I'm not just saying that. It's Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey Jr. But I'm also Kevin Mitchell, man. Like, and the reason why I say
Gangster Kevin Mitchell
is like when I'm a 10-year-old kid watching what he's doing, I'd throw Bo Jackson there too. But Kevin Mitchell, like once I saw the barehanded catch, I was like, he's not human.
No.
Yeah,
he's built different.
And I'm an Oakland fan, so 2 of my 3 is there. I was a shortstop. My biggest regret is giving up on baseball to go basketball. Right when I had coach made me choose, and back then girls didn't go watch baseball players. I'm sorry. So it was an easy question at 14 years old.
Until you get paid.
Exactly. I didn't have the foresight for people to say it, but so Ozzie was the man. Walt Weiss was my guy because he was the Oakland. I loved Walt Weiss. I got a Walt Weiss jersey in my closet
I'm gonna get up off this podcast and come bear hug if you say Carney Lansford next.
No,
I had so many of his cards, the Bowmans, bro. Carney Lansford,
clean.
The man, Carney.
Man, number 3, and he's probably number 1 is Ricky Henderson because that was the swag dude. That he used to lead off the game with a jack, and as he's running,
you got time for a quick Ricky story?
Yes, I do. Please,
okay,
bless us with that.
So I go to play for the Newark Bears, right, in the Atlantic League, and Ricky had just been on a team a couple years prior. One of the catchers is still there, and he was catching on a different team in the league. And he tells us a story about when Ricky came up to bat. So Ricky comes up to bat. He's talking to himself because he talks in third person, right? And he's just like, hey, he's telling this is him right, and he getting started his bat. Here we go, Ricky, the man. Ricky, it's time to show him what you got to do, Ricky. Show him what you do, Ricky. He takes fastball, strike 1. Strike 1. Oh, you good, Ricky. You got this guy, Ricky. You got him. You got him. Then the guy throws him like a curveball. He like rolls over, fouls it off. Oh, you all over him, Ricky. You all over him, Ricky. You all over him. Then the dude throws him a banger, buckles him. Ha! Strike 3. He's walking up. You're the best in the world, Ricky. You're the best player in the world, Ricky.
Wow. Hey, that is so dope.
Talk about some self-talk.
And by the way,
talk about some self-talk.
That's incredible. I will say, too, because I was saying Ken Griffey Jr. and the swag, but, like, there's levels to this. Ricky Henderson was just like... As a Giants fan, I low-key was an A's fan. I mean, that's how incredible.
They were badass when
we were growing up.
And
I mean, it was just... We've lived in a really good time to witness...
Dave Stewart, Eckersley, all them dudes. That's great. But Walt Weiss, did you know he used the same glove his whole career?
No. What?
Yes, I got to pick it up one time, and it was like re-stitched, re-sewn.
That's
like
crazy.
Different padding. It's like old pine tar.
That's
now dudes are switching
crazy.
out gloves every 2 months.
Man.
Walt Weiss said, "Old Faithful, man." Walt Weiss was,
man.
yeah, that's
And
why.
I could do the baseball. Man, listen, this would be way longer than any of us wanted to, but we
It's all
honestly,
good.
I'm probably going to bring you back for round 2. That's what we're going to do.
Hey, we
I
just
know
get
we kind
started.
of glossed over it, but your brother and what he's doing in the fashion world, I think we're trying to be real low key on it, man. I'm watching what he's doing, and he's on an absolute another level that I am. Like, really tell us what it is, because I don't think people are knowing who we're even referencing here and what he's been able to do in his career, man.
Well, obviously, most people have seen the essentials, or may have heard of Fear of God. But like I said, currently last night he's in New York City. Just got an award from the Wall Street Journal. As a top designer, creative director, or whatever it may be. But those aren't really the accolades that he's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
He's established himself in a way that really it's like a Ralph Lauren, one of those names that's like there to stay. That's why the clothes aren't a bunch of big logo T-shirts or bright whatever it may be. They're essential items, if you will. But yes, his company has blown up bigger than any of us could ever imagine, and we're beyond proud of him. And the other thing is what it challenges him to do, which is what inspires me, because me and him are best friends, and so we hold each other accountable. And so, like you were saying, there's levels to this. Like, he's in a different place, than other people. Like, he can't go to sleep if like a shirt's not right, or whatever it may be. He's watching old school movies like The Breakfast Club just to get getting references, like movies like Heat and all those those older movies. He's watching them for a purpose, and he uses a lot of that stuff. And just to see him he didn't go to school. He got his master's in business marketing, so he didn't go to school for fashion. He never was a kid that was drawing clothes or anything like that. But I guess we always had a little bit of taste, but he's just taking it to another level where Fear of God is now an empire. Essentials is its own empire, and also Fear of God Athletics, which is now for these next couple years partnered with Adidas. So you'll be seeing
what you rocking right now, right?
Yeah,
the
the Adidas Fear of God basketball shoes that I'm not sure exactly when they come out yet, but there's a few different versions of them. But he got, he was in the scene a little bit in Hollywood as like a party promoter, if you will. And so, he would kind of, he would wear his stuff, and then obviously then celebrities started wearing it, which I think maybe helped it catch fire.
Yeah.
But I can't take anything from him operating in his convictions and never wavering. He's had a lot of opportunities to where he could have maybe wavered, if you will, but he stayed true to himself and to the vision, and he's representing that Manuel name the way he's supposed to with greatness, man.
When I hear that, so I see how you are. You're so attention to detail. You talk about your brother and how he has to get that attention to detail stuff. But what it goes back to? The legacy and your dad. He's still doing paying attention to detail. That's what it leads to, man. Gosh,
and he's still involved in the amateur side. He's working for the commissioner.
Yeah.
He runs. He's the field coordinator for the MLB Develops program.
Yes,
so
he is.
He's still getting his hands dirty and will get in the cage with any kid. And his heart is truly for the next generation. There's nothing phony about it. It's just pure, authentic, just joy to give back, and knowing that he's in his purpose. And it's like when the whole deal of me walking away from the game, and do I battle it with it still? It's like, no, because without that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Who knows what I would be doing if it became all about me and my career or whatever. But no, it's about all these kids that are getting impacted. It's all these kids underneath that have come through, the Jerry Manuel Foundation, that have come through JMF, that are helping to have an impact on their community, which in turn is having an impact on the world. And that's all we can do is be vessels of that and make sure that we're just kind of planting seeds into other people so that we can see the fruits outside of just us.
Amazing.
And on that, I mean, so I mentioned earlier, I've been working with kids at Leah Tata Floyd for 7-8 years. I've adopted a family.
Awesome.
So I'm like really, really deep in at Leah Tata. And I, in typical Bob Ballion fashion, when the play ball thing happened, he was like, yo, Chris, I just need you to show up tomorrow. And I showed up. I didn't know you guys were coming. But how did you and your family on the play ball, did you guys, because I'm pretty sure it was because of you guys selected Leah Tata Floyd, or how did that all work?
Yeah, 100%. So we were doing the Jerry Manuel Foundation simultaneously. Both my dad and I are employed by Major League Baseball on the amateur side, and then I go on. Now I'm with the Reds, so I don't do as many MLB develops events or MLB stuff. But once they closed the school down, and I wouldn't be here to run the program, so we decided to shut it down after those 10 years. My dad wanted to find another location to where he can find a way to give back. And so they're still working out details. Major League Baseball is building a field right there where we were, state-of-the-art field, right there in the middle of the projects at Leah Tata Floyd.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
And then obviously Pastor Bob and my parents, bringing us to that church is what cultivated that relationship. And then, obviously from there you put the heads together and you figure out how you can, make sure you're having an impact wherever you are. And so that happens to be the place where my dad is roaming these days. So he's gonna leave some kind of print or whatever it may be. So we had Major League Baseball come out and do a play ball event, which they do all over the country.
Yep.
Just to show love to those kids, and that was what that was. That was just a small sample of the things that are possible to be there. And so there's plans for there to be an actual field and kids playing and getting loved on, and so obviously that's a pretty rough area.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help but to feel for the kids that are there, and that's why I have the same passion that you have when it comes to giving back to those kids and helping them out and making sure they're getting the right kind of guidance they need as they take on life. That
was a special day for me. I mean, flowers to you too. I mean, you were locked in, bro. I mean, this dude's energy was like on level 10, and they had rotating stations, but this wasn't something like where you're just walking in like half-assing it. You and your dad were like literally showing out.
Well, yeah, and that's not we're not trying to do that. That's just the only way we know how to operate on a baseball field.
Yep.
If I'm going to be on the field, that's the way it's going to be. It's just not like, let me be super into it. No. It is authentically, who we are, and that's why there's so much peace that comes with it, because you're walking in purpose. So yeah, that's just who we are, man. We got the baseball field.
I had a chance. I'm imagining he's friends with your dad, but Derek Lee's father was there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What's his name again?
Leon.
Great guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to hear a good story from him too. About I'm like, obviously your son's Derek Lee, and I guess he was coaching in Japan at the time, and he thought I guess he told he caught a flight and barely made Game 7 to watch his son win a World Series.
Great.
The Lees have been family friends since we were kids in Florida. I remember me and my brother getting in one night, and my mom told us, because Derek and his brother Brian, she said we have some family that's you guys sleep on the couch. We're like, what? Who you gave our beds away? And so I remember opening the door to look in my room, and Derek was in my bed. He's like 6. His head was up here. His feet were falling off. The covers. He was asleep. He doesn't even know about this story. He was asleep, and I remember being like, "Dang, that dude is long." Let me take my butt to the couch. I thought I was gonna punk some kid to get out of the bed. I thought I was gonna punk somebody to get out of the bed. I said, "Man, is there a pillow over there?"
That's great.
I ain't waking him up.
No, hell no. That is great.
I ain't waking him up. about. You can have the bag. You good, bro?
Oh man, that's
But
great.
yeah, D. Lee and Leon, that's family, you know. And that's the other beautiful thing about Sacramento. There's so much baseball royalty
It is.
here with Dusty Baker and Darren doing his thing. Darren's in AAA. You know, we do some infield work together. You know, you obviously got Greg Vaughn. His son Corey's a good friend of mine. The Royster family. You know, I'm sorry to whoever I missed out, but you know the list goes on here in Sacramento. It's pretty cool.
That was one of the things I was just kind of wondering if, like, you know, listening to the stories, Florida, you guys, you know, we're in Chicago, but is it safe to say that you and your family call Sacramento home?
Yeah, we call Sacramento home. This is the place that my parents met. You know, they were high school sweethearts. And then when my dad was with the Mets, he wanted to build his dream home up in El Dorado Hills, which brought him back here. Now he switched over to Loomis for some more property Rene got to see. But yeah, this is definitely what we call home, you know, because like I said, it's where they met, where we have some extended family. So yeah, Sacramento definitely is home. And I think it always will be, you know, no matter where I end up, where we end up, whatever team I'm with, or whatever happens 10 years from now, who knows? But Sacramento will be home for sure.
Love it.
Love it. All right, you want to hit them with the questions? Get us going.
Yeah, so we like to end the pod. Let's start with music. You a music fan?
I mean, yeah.
A little bit. I mean, some people are. Top 3 artists, doesn't matter the genre, but your top 3 musical artists of all time.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Any sort. It could be R&B, hip hop.
Dead or alive,
Can't
don't
be
matter.
country though.
I'd have to go with. I'd have to go with Tupac. I'd have to go with. Man, this is tough. And I got to go with Nas.
I just saw Nas,
And
by the
then-
way, at the Blue Note Jazz Festival in Napa, and it was incredible.
Yeah, Nas is the man. And then I'll throw some Curtis Mayfield in there.
Okay, let's go. I like it. It always tells us about the person that's sitting here. We get into these lists.
I feel like the most, like the ones that come up the most usually are Jay-Z, Michael Jackson. We've heard a couple Janet Jacksons.
Couple Stevies. Stevie Wonder.
Yep.
But yeah.
Okay.
All right. And now you've traveled a lot, so I'm curious where you go there. I'm not sure if how much of a foodie are you or not, but let's get the top 3 restaurants, places. It don't have to. It could be in Sacramento, out of Sacramento. What would be on that list?
There is I have no idea where it is in Times Square, but there's this dude with the little pizza thing.
Oh, let's
He has
go.
a pizza truck.
Yeah.
That has the best pizza I've ever had in my life. And every time I go to New York, I somehow find him because he's somewhere on Times Square. So it's not a restaurant.
Let's go. That's
but
great.
it's been for like 15 years, bro. Every time I go to New York, I go and I find the dude's little thing.
Oh.
And it's the best pizza for me. It's the best pizza.
Do us a favor. Just I'm gonna put this in your memory bank. Next time you're in New York and next time you're there, just snap a photo. Just snap a photo.
Okay, all right, yeah. So dude's pizza is pretty good. I'm not really a big foodie, to be honest with you. I do like Italian food. That's kind of my go-to. And we are, as Manuels, we are all kind of homebodies.
Yes.
So with that being said, it's very rare for us to like go out to eat, be out. So I'll give you my favorite meal, which would be fried catfish, some red beans and rice, and collard greens. That's what I ask for on my birthday every time. Anybody asks me what I want. So
I love that. I love that. You got the last one?
Yeah. So, dead or alive, if you get to have dinner with somebody, dead or alive, who would that be, and why?
Oh man, that would be Jesus Christ, my Creator. And I would just pick his brain like I do with my dad. Man, I would just be picking his brain on his plans and his creations and everything that, obviously those that have faith are following. They have to be Jesus Christ.
Love it, man.
Man, hey, like I said, this could continue. This is probably round one. I know there's a bunch more stories. I enjoyed every second of it. You guys could stop right this second and have one of the biggest legacies ever, but it's still to be written. Thank you for everything you do in this community, everywhere that you at, the people that you touch. But I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come kick it with us in the lounge, man.
I appreciate you guys. Anytime, you already know.
it.
We're
Man,
fam.
let's go.
Text away.
Let's go.
So we're good. We're Gucci.
All right, you guys. It's out.
Later.